Let me introduce Christina Stoltz to you. She graduated from Dartmouth in 2006. She embarked on a career in international human rights advocacy with a focus on human trafficking, commercial sexual exploitation, and domestic and sexual violence. She has a truly remarkable story. I talked to her at length as my dinner partner last night at our table. After graduating from Dartmouth, spent a great deal of time in Russia, in Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, working on ways to fight against, help those who are oppressed by human trafficking, and with a particular focus on healing and working with the survivors and those who have been abused. She is applying this as an entrepreneur these days back in her hometown of Philadelphia. And so it's my pleasure to introduce Christina Stoltz, who has a fascinating story that she's going to tell you. Great.
Thank you so much for can everyone hear me? Is this on? Is this thing on? Do I get to do that now? Is this thing on? Thank you for that wonderful introduction. I slipped one of my slides into Greg's presentation to give you guys a little sneak peek of what's to come, because the tenor of my talk today is a little bit different, and I think Trevor's introduction and segue into what we're about to discuss couldn't have been better. So for that, I thank you very much. Before we start, I'll just have everyone take a big, deep breath, because we're going to shift gears pretty quickly, actually. So with that, let's begin. Let's talk trauma. August 15th, Maria disappeared. Many would argue she disappeared 5 years ago when her family first sold her into sex slavery to pay their debts. She was 11 years old, afraid and alone. Maria's 16 now. The legal system can't defend her. She's a foreign national who refuses to testify against her family. Women's centers can't support her because she's underage, and Children's Protective Services can't provide her with help because she's homeless. Maria was tired of broken promises. She vanished underground. Last week, Donna fled. For over 30 years, she lived in crack houses, prisons, and emergency shelters, bouncing from one state-sponsored program to the next on prostitution and solicitation charges. She worked really hard to get sober and to graduate from transitional housing. On the eve of her release, Donna's future was wide open. She climbed out the shelter window and returned to the street. She couldn't imagine a life unlike the one she'd always known. Today I'm here, though I wake up in a cold sweat most nights. My bloody vest, the unsympathetic nurse at the hospital, the condescending police officers, the frustration from colleagues who think I provoked it, and the frustration from friends who think I should just get over it. My loneliness is palpable. Maria, Donna, and I are your neighbors, your coworkers, and members of your community. Like you, we wish the world were a safer place. My name is Christina Stoltz. I'm a 2006 and 2007 Dartmouth alumna, and I'm honored to share with you today my passion for healing, for transcending trauma through movement, and for celebrating the strength and the power of our bodies and our communities. I am the founder and president of REQ.1 and Ploome, a synergistic nonprofit hybrid that I created to meet these goals. REQ.1 and Ploome are more than platforms to promote personal transformation and social change. REQ.1 is creative healing in action. A nonprofit organization, REQ.1 provides victim survivors of gender-based violence with safe and supportive outlets for physical activity, self-expression, and community connections. Ploome is intelligent fitness in action, a for-profit Pilates studio and movement arts boutique seeking B Corporation certification. Ploome combines exercise and educational outreach into a socially responsible and community-driven enterprise that offers direct, programmatic, and financial support to REQ.1. Together, REQ.1 and Ploome are setting a new standard for alternative outreach advocacy, both in the nonprofit sphere and the fitness industry. As a university educator, a victim advocate, and a trauma survivor, I intimately understand the complex connection between education, outreach, and direct service. My passion for healing through movement and art, and my dedication to improve current support systems for victims of violence stem not only from my own personal experiences of trauma, oh, and the mic kicks in, but also, and most importantly, from my recuperation through these healing modalities. In 2006, as a Dartmouth graduate, I embarked on a career in international human rights advocacy with a focus on human trafficking, commercial sexual exploitation, and domestic and sexual violence. With the support of my alma mater, the U.S. State Department, UNIFEM, international universities, and local crisis centers, I organized and facilitated community campaigns, educational programs, and artistic projects in the U.S., Russia, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, and Uzbekistan to raise awareness on the issue of gender-based violence. While in Kyrgyzstan, I survived a brutal assault and an attempted abduction that left me feeling powerless. I was physically and psychologically broken. I was far from home, and I didn't have the resources that I needed to heal. As a community education coordinator and as a victim advocate in Bishkek, the Kyrgyz capital, I found support and understanding from the residents, not the staff, but from the residents of the crisis centers where I worked. My personal recuperation through fitness and my commitment to body studies inspired me to develop a creative healing program there for trauma survivors of bride kidnapping, human trafficking, and domestic and sexual violence. Together, the participants of this program and I utilize Pilates mat work, response writing, and alternative art to transform trauma and to heal through movement. Following the 2010 civil uprising in Kyrgyzstan, I returned to the U.S. and dedicated my professional pursuits to trauma, rehabilitation, and recovery. REQ.1 was born in Philadelphia on November 17, 2010, the day I walked into Dawn's Place, Pennsylvania's first and only crisis center and emergency shelter for victims of trafficking and commercial sexual exploitation. There, I convinced the two eccentric and flamboyant Sisters of St. Joseph who run the shelter to share my passion for self-care and for social advocacy. Linda is REQ.1's first and longest-standing client. Born into a supportive and financially stable family, Linda was bored by privilege and yearned for experience and excitement. She found herself hustling on the street at the age of 12, seeking love, attention, and affection from men who used her and her body for sex, drugs, and control. A meth addict and prostitute by 14, Linda bounced in and out. Linda bounced in and out of prison for over 20 years. There, she discovered she was HIV positive. Linda arrived at Dawn's Place at the age of 45, estranged from her family, homeless, and broke. Needless to say, Linda fought me and the REQ.1 program every step of the way, and why wouldn't she? How were 3 hours a week of Pilates and writing going to contribute in any real way to her personal recovery from years of sexual and psychological trauma? She vehemently protested every class. I mean, she cursed me out every time I came to Dawn's Place. Needless to say, she continued to sit in on our sessions for fear that she would miss something, like these victory kicks, repurposed track shoes that reflect the steps REQ.1 participants and I have taken towards trauma recovery. First, the women and I worked out in these used sneakers. Then, we painted them to show what healing looks like for each of us. And finally, we wrote a poem to capture the project's meaning, inscribed on the side of our shoes, as you can see right here. It starts with the steps and moves forward with understanding. Each new footprint takes courage and carries us into tomorrow. We stuffed our kicks with flowers as a reminder that the process of healing is long but beautiful. So, after 3 months of dogged resistance, Linda grabbed her mat and journal and opened herself up to the power of healing through movement and art. Although she graduated from Dawn's Place in July 2011, Linda remains committed to her REQ.1 program. She earmarks a chunk of her monthly savings to travel 40 minutes each way by bus to experience REQ.1. Her T-cell counts are higher than they have ever been. Her depression and anxiety have dramatically reduced, and she's begun to rekindle her relationship with her family. Joseph Pilates once famously remarked that physical fitness is the first requisite of happiness. REQ.1 takes this vision one step further by redefining the personal value and the social relevance of the mind-body connection. We utilize physical activity, play, and imagination to encourage self-reflection, build trust, and reframe trauma. Lifelines, for example, is one of REQ.1's most popular projects at Foyer, a REQ.1 affiliate crisis center for prostituted transgender youth. In it, REQ.1 participants and I combine the whimsicality of hula hooping with the power of personal narrative to chart our histories and to map our futures. Single words, phrases, and images represent formative moments that shape who we are and who we want to become. Unlike many social service agencies that categorize victimhood and trauma response, REQ.1 is a safe and supportive space for survivors to develop practical coping mechanisms to assess, address, and transform traumatic experience. It is also an opportunity for social service agencies to offer programs and models for healing that their budgets and staffs cannot systematically deliver. REQ.1 small group classes and private sessions add structure to participants' daily routines and provide them with creative strategies for managing the stresses of life, both in and out of transitional housing. REQ.1 takes a community-driven approach to self-care, empowering its participants to reach their goals and to support one another. These charm tutus do just that, using a ribbon and string to celebrate our strengths and to symbolize our hope. What started as a Tuesday-Thursday exercise, writing, and meditation program quickly evolved into a full-fledged nonprofit organization with a firm legal infrastructure, tested training modules, and an exciting community-driven financial framework. At its core, REQ.1 was created to heal the community and to destigmatize victimhood. Ploome, its sister enterprise, was designed to support REQ.1 in achieving these goals. Ploome is a playground for adults, offering unique, affordable, and accessible fitness programs that celebrate body diversity and promote social responsibility. We at Ploome believe that inspired movement and empowered living begin with fun, dynamic, engaging, and balanced workouts that honor every shape and size. Our small group classes, from Pilates mat and yoga and Pilates apparatus to cardio bar, flow arts, and our signature champagne sundaes, which include homemade treats and mocktails, accommodate all ages, genders, and fitness levels. Ploome, however, is more than a Pilates studio and movement arts boutique. Like REQ.1, it utilizes physical activity to transform the body, to strengthen the mind-body connection, and to explore the joy of movement in a creative and carefree environment. Ploome espouses a workout, chill out, get out, help out model that directly involves its clients in the growth and development of REQ.1 through, among other things, the contribution of fitness clothing and equipment, educational materials, and art supplies to program participants. In turn, REQ.1 welcomes the Ploome community and the community at large to share its passion for healing through movement and art. Both REQ.1 and Ploome promote creative, physical expression and community advocacy. At their shared studio, REQ.1 and Ploome host monthly events and workshops that combine playful fitness and educational outreach to inspire social change. Together, REQ.1 and Ploome organized Dance Dance Resolution 2012, a DDR tournament to promote Human Trafficking Awareness Month. For those of you that don't know, DDR is Dance Dance Revolution, a wildly popular arcade game in the 1990s, which is, we're keeping alive at Ploome, really. They also sponsored Slam on the Silence to End Violence, a teen dating violence poetry slam to combat intimate partner abuse. In short, REQ.1 and Ploome are
are committed to keeping their participants, clients, and community informed on the issue of gender-based violence and encouraging them to inform others. As one event goer commented, "I never realized the magnitude of the problem or that I could be part of the solution." REQ.1 and Ploome are celebrations of diversity, wellness, and social responsibility. They were created to transform trauma and heal through movement. Their power is rooted in the commitment not only of their participants and clients, but also of their community. Together, REQ.1 and Ploome are relentless in the pursuit of personal transformation and social change. We've only just begun, and starting is really hard. We are dedicated to strengthening our foundation and our message. The REQ.1 Ploome hybrid is a viable solution to the growing demand for affordable, empowering, and practical mechanisms for self-care that nonprofit organizations, community outreach facilities, and fitness enterprises in the U.S. and abroad cannot systematically deliver. Today, I invite all of you. REQ.1 and Ploome, hello, are creative, healing, and intelligent fitness in action. It was important to go back to the title there. Today, I invite all of you to get fit and give back, to be active, engaged, and informed as you share in the fun and the innovation of movement that matters. Thank you.